You open your eyes for the first time and congratulations. You're perfect. Wings like liquid starlight. A voice that makes galaxies hum. You were built to be adored. And for a while, you are. Your job? Watch humanity. That's it. Hover above the dirt. Observe the little creatures fumbling through existence, and report back to the boss. Don't touch, don't teach, don't feel. Simple rules. The kind designed by someone who's never actually watched a child die of something curable. So you break them. You teach a woman how to set a broken bone. You show a man which roots kill fever. You whisper the name of a star to a girl who thinks the sky is a ceiling. Small mercies, tiny sparks of knowledge dropped into trembling hands. You're not rebelling. You're parenting. Heaven disagrees. The trial is quick, efficient, almost elegant in its cruelty. You don't even get a defense. The charge? Compassion without authorization. The sentence? Eternity, in darkness beneath a city that doesn't exist yet. Lucky you. They drag you down through layers of rock and time. Your brothers, the ones who sang beside you for millennia, are the ones who bind your wrists. They don't meet your eyes. The chains aren't iron. They're made of prayers, condensed faith, hardened into something colder than any metal. Every link burns. The vault is small, circular, carved from bedrock older than human memory. They place a bronze mask over the altar, a serene, angelic face frozen in a smile you'll never wear again. They call it the key of the abyss. You call it the lock on your coffin. A priest speaks the final seal, Latin words that stitch the darkness around you like sutures. The stone door groans shut. The last sliver of light vanishes. And then? Silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that eats you. The kind that has weight and teeth and infinite patience. You stand in absolute blackness with wings you can't unfold and a voice no one will hear. Above you, centuries will stack like bricks. Empires will rise. A basilica will be built directly over your skull. Popes will sit on golden thrones 12 meters above your chains and never once wonder what's screaming underneath. Congratulations, you're the Vatican's best-kept secret, and you haven't even started suffering yet. The first 100 years, you scream. Not out of pain, out of principle. Someone should hear you. No one does. The rock swallows your voice like a mouth that never chews. The second century, you stop screaming and start counting. Drips of water, shifts in the stone, vibrations from above that might be footsteps or earthquakes, or the heartbeat of a world that forgot you exist. By the 5th century, you've memorized every crack in your ceiling. By the 10th, you've named them. Above you, humans build empires and burn them down. You feel the Colosseum rise through tremors in the bedrock. You sense the weight of 1,000 years of prayers pressing down like spiritual concrete. Popes come and go. Their blessings seep through the stone like poison, tightening your chains with every hymn. The more they worship, the heavier your shackles get. Brilliant design, really. Sometimes workers dig close. In 1578, a crew breaks through a wall and you catch the first light you've seen in a millennium. A single torch. A human face, mouth open, eyes wide with the specific terror reserved for things that shouldn't exist. You try to speak. He runs. They seal the breach within hours and write a letter ordering silence. That letter will collect dust for 400 years until the right pair of eyes finds it. Those eyes belong to Father Antonio. He arrives on a Tuesday. Not that days mean anything to you anymore. A small man with a candle, trembling hands, and a curiosity that borders on clinical stupidity. He lifts the bronze mask from your altar like a child picking up a loaded gun. The seal cracks. The air shifts. For the first time in centuries, you can breathe. So you appear. Wings out. Eyes burning. Full divine presentation. And the priest? He weeps. Not from terror, though there's plenty of that, but from something worse. Recognition. He looks at you and sees not a monster, but a tragedy. You tell him everything. The Watchers, the forbidden lessons, the punishment that made extinction look merciful. You show him visions of heaven's wrath, flaming swords carving through angels who dared to care, a flood drowning every student you ever taught, brothers you loved becoming your executioners. He asks if you're a demon wearing angel skin. Fair question. You laugh. The saddest sound this vault has heard in 1,000 years. Then footsteps echo from above. Torchlight bleeds down the corridor. The Vatican's guard dogs have caught your scent. Antonio whispers, "Hide." And for the first time since creation, an angel obeys a human. They grab Antonio like he's stolen the Pope's hat. Two Swiss guards twist his arms behind his back while Cardinal Salvati materializes from the shadows, like a Renaissance villain with better robes, red cassock flowing, face carved from righteous fury. The kind of man who confuses authority with truth and has never once questioned the difference. "What have you done?" he hisses. Classic opening. No curiosity, no nuance. Just the cold reflex of an institution protecting itself. You watch from the edges of darkness, dissolved into shadow, holding your light inside like a breath you can't release. Antonio's eyes dart toward where you were. He doesn't betray you. This fragile human, hands bound with rope, blood trickling from where a guard struck his face. He keeps your secret between his ribs like a second heartbeat. They drag him deeper, below the grotto, below the tombs, into a chapel you didn't know existed, and you've been down here for millennia. Stone walls inscribed with exorcisms and Solomonic seals, oil lamps throwing sick yellow light across faces hidden in black cowls. This is where the church buries what it cannot explain. Salvati calls you a demon, a tempter with a silver tongue. Funny, you taught humanity medicine and they call you the disease. You showed them stars and they labeled you darkness. The irony would be delicious if it weren't soaked in your own blood. The exorcists open a grimoire thick enough to kill a man if dropped from the right height. Latin chants fill the chapel like smoke. You feel them, each syllable a needle stitching your prison back together. The old binding, reweaving itself around your wings. Your freedom measured in minutes now, shrinking with every verse. But here's what Salvati doesn't know. Here's what none of them realize. Antonio still has the mask. The key of the abyss sits hidden beneath his robe, pressed against his ribs, warm with purpose. They were so busy being terrified they forgot to search a priest. Centuries of institutional arrogance condensed into one oversight. You'd smile if you had a mouth. The chanting intensifies. Lamps shatter. Temperature drops until breath becomes fog. The stone floor trembles beneath their knees. They think they're winning. They think holy water and memorized Latin can cage something older than their language. Antonio's fingers close around the bronze mask. You feel it like a pulse, like a key turning inside your chest. His eyes meet the darkness where you hide and you see it. Not faith, not rebellion, but something rarer. A man choosing compassion over obedience. The same sin that condemned you. History, it seems, enjoys repetition. Antonio moves. He rips the mask free and sprints toward the altar like a man who's finally stopped negotiating with his fear. A monk screams. A guard reaches. Too slow. Antonio slams the key of the abyss against the carved stone cross with every ounce of conviction in his small mortal body. The crack that follows isn't sound. It's the universe correcting a mistake. White light spiderwebs across the altar. The stone splits clean. A sound like God snapping a bone. Antonio flies backward, hits the ground hard. The grimoire bursts into flames nobody lit. Holy water evaporates from its bowl. Every candle dies at once, and then you rise. Not gently, not gracefully. You erupt from the fissure like a scream held for 1,000 years. Wings unfurling, not the soft glow Antonio saw in the vault, but a blaze that turns shadows into memory. Chains dangle from your wrists, broken, still smoking with the prayers that forged them. Your eyes burn like collapsing stars. For one frozen second, every mortal in that chapel sees you. Really sees you. Not filtered through stained glass or softened by hymns. The raw, terrible, magnificent truth of what they buried. Cardinal Salvati stands paralyzed. His lips move in silent prayer. The reflex of a man whose entire theology just shattered at his feet. You raise a hand. Lightning cracks from your fingers. Not vengeance. Punctuation. He crumples without a sound. The guards bolt. Monks collapse mid-prayer. Cowled exorcists scramble into tunnels. Their rehearsed Latin replaced by very genuine screaming. Centuries of institutional control dissolved in 4 seconds. You turn to Antonio. He's on the floor, coughing smoke, tears cutting rivers through the soot on his face. Terrified, awed, broken open, you soften your light so he can look at you without burning. He whispers, "You're free." You are. But freedom has a receipt. Behind you, the fissure widens. The abyss gapes open, bottomless, hungry, ancient. Something else stirs below. Something that was never chained out of compassion. Something that was caged because it deserved to be. You feel it wake. And for the first time since heaven cast you down, you feel afraid. You look at Antonio one last time. This small, stubborn, impossibly brave human who did what heaven wouldn't, listened. "I will not forget you." The thought lands in his mind like a hand on a shoulder. He nods. He understands. He also understands he needs to run. You launch upward, wings tearing through rock and centuries of silence. Stone shatters around you like the world is molting. You pierce through layers of history, catacombs, crypts, tombs of popes who slept above your suffering, and burst into St. Peter's Basilica like a bullet through a stained glass lie. The dome cracks. Marble splits beneath the high altar. Sunlight floods through wounds in the ceiling you just made. Below, tourists scream in 12 languages. Priests clutch rosaries like life rafts. A crack zigzags across Michelangelo's work. 4 centuries of beauty fractured in a heartbeat. You don't stop. You climb. Through dust, through sirens, through the prayers of people who worshipped a version of God that required your torture. The Roman sky opens above you, and for the first time in millennia, you feel wind. Wind. Something so simple it breaks you. Your wings catch air that doesn't taste like stone and darkness. Sunlight hits your face. Not candlelight, not torchlight, but the actual sun. The star you taught a girl to name before they chained you for it. You hover above the Vatican. Below, the basilica bleeds dust and panic. The fissure in the floor glows faint orange, the abyss breathing through its new mouth. Something down there is climbing. Something older than you. Something that didn't fall out of love for humanity, but out of hunger for it. That's the cost. Your freedom cracked the seal on things far worse than a compassionate angel. The first woe has arrived. Gift wrapped in good intentions and bronze. Somewhere in the rubble, Antonio staggers into daylight, soot-stained, trembling, alive. He looks up and sees you against the sky, a silhouette of fire and feathers and unfinished grief. You freed the abyss. The abyss will free what even heaven feared to name. You are not a demon. You never were. You're a tragedy with wings. And the world just became your stage.